Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, last year, if you were either a Miami Dolphins fan or a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, you know about Hurricane Irma that struck and postponed our game until about the 10th week of the or 11th week of the 2017 season. That week, we could have used a lot of rest because we were getting our shit stomped. I mean, to go 16 weeks in a row and come out with a 5-11 record for the Buccaneers really says a lot on how bye weeks should be used to handle certain situations. Luckily for us, we might just get a bye week going straight into October because ta-da, 2018 schedules just come out. Or actually, it's been out for a while, but I haven't made a video on it until just now. So anyway, you see our two Florida games. We play Miami and Jacksonville in the preseason. And we've also got an away game against Tennessee and a home game against Detroit. So preseason set, two away, two home. And then we move on to the meat of the video, the 2018 regular season schedule. As you can see, we got our first game against New Orleans in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Then we move on. We're taking on Philadelphia Eagles in our home turf, second week. Then the third week, we get a Monday night game against Pittsburgh. Then the fourth week, we move up to Chicago, where the Bears will be playing. And then fifth week, we get a bye week, which normally I would care less about, but seeing the rest of our schedule and how it's going to go, if we got some power teams on there, we might we might have fared better if we would schedule our bye weeks somewhere from week 9 to week 10. So anyway, after our bye week, we get Sunday against Atlanta, Sunday versus Cleveland, week 6 and week 7. Then week 8, we go to Paul Brown Stadium to take on Cincinnati. Then we make a airplane trip to Charlottesville to take on the Carolina Panthers. Then we head home for a Week 10 game against the Washington Redskins. Then we go to the Big Apple for New York and the Giants. Then we head home for a 3 home game stretch against San Fran, Carolina, and New Orleans, weeks 12 through 14, followed by a 2 game road stretch from weeks 15 to 16 against both Baltimore and Dallas. Then in week 17, we finish it up with a home game against Atlanta. Now, looking at the schedule, based on how last year went for us, we have some pretty tough competition to deal with. We have Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles coming off their Super Bowl win against the New England Patriots. We got Pittsburgh, who has been a powerhouse team for a while now, but hasn't reached the Super Bowl since the 2010 season. So it should be pretty interesting to see where this matchup goes after our last meetup and the win with Mike Glennon. We've also got Baltimore, who drafted a really good quarterback, and we'll see if he plays against us in Week 15. Probably not. Then, for Week 12, Jimmy G, Richard Sherman. You got pieces falling together in San Francisco that could rebuild the San Francisco 49ers into a Super Bowl contender. Then you got Dallas, and we know everybody knows the deal with Dallas. They make the playoffs with Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, the likes. They'll probably be another playoff team we're gonna have to bust our balls off to beat. And we got tough competition in our own division. Well, we have tough competition every year in our own division against New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina, who all went into the playoffs last year, and all of them fell in the most unlikeliest of manners. Atlanta struggling offensively against Philly, who also struggled. Then you got Carolina losing to New Orleans in a shoutout. And then New Orleans surprisingly losing to Minnesota with about 12 seconds left on the game clock on the final play. But don't expect Drew Brees and the offense and defense to be done just yet. They've got a couple more years, and Alvin Kamara could lead the team to another Super Bowl. I think the defense is really anchored down. They got rid of Kenny Vaccaro in the offseason, which is surprising since I was expecting Kenny Vaccaro to stay with the Saints one more year. But whatever. You've also got Atlanta, who, let's face fact, has the best wide receiver we've ever played against, Julio Jones. The guy can make in routes and catches, and one-handed catches, tiptoe catches. Made a catch against best Patriots cornerback. He can certainly make a catch against whoever we got at cornerback at the time. Then you got Carolina with Cam Newton being a superstar as always, finding ways to make his receivers open. Then we got some questions on New York for the upcoming year. How will New York respond after 3-13 season last year? Will Eli Manning be the same quarterback that he was about three-ish years ago, or will he experience a rapid decline in his stats like it started in the 2017 season? And then the Cleveland, who, let's face it, Cleveland is pretty much a good team offensively. Even though defensively they suck, offensively with Deshaun Kaiser on board, they can put up a lot of points on you in a hurry. So that's an area we have to look forward to. And then Chicago, it it's safe to say that Mitchell Trubisky is experiencing a growth in the NFL. Now, whether it be a major growth is left up to chance and how he'll play in the 2018 season. But headed up to Chicago, we should expect Mitchell Trubisky to basically put up about 250 passing yards on us. We should expect the running back to get some carries and touchdowns. We should also expect their defense to basically lock down on Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson. So, I'm not saying this could happen, but it might possibly happen with Chicago. One thing I will say is between either the Pittsburgh game or the Chicago game with Ronald Jones III, either one of those games could be his breakout game where he goes all out on the team and puts up a 50 burger on them in rushing yards. So, looking at this schedule, we got a pretty tough schedule ahead of us, and we might go 8-8, but really I'm expecting us to go like 7-9, like another year of missing the playoffs and another year of finding a new head coach afterwards.